The following program is intended for mature audiences.
What do you say we have a rock and roll party?
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And check out every episode of the show at basicallysports.tumblr.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg, Mike.
And you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Should we get into Overreaction Monday here in the National Football League?
Sure, we can talk about my Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams.
Print the tickets up right now, folks. Jacksonville Jaguars, LA Rams, Super Bowl 52 coming up.
God.
Yeah,
Loser gets sent to London.
Loser has to keep playing in London. The Rams game went pretty much as perfectly as you could have asked for the team to turn it around. You start off with a pick six for a touchdown. Jared Goff pulls it together and he throws great. Todd Gurley has a touchdown. Like I said, Jared Goff, 306 yards, a touchdown. That touchdown passes to your wide receiver that you picked up in the draft, Cooper Kupp, and you're like, this is as good as it could possibly be. We're good this year, right? Well, the Colts look pretty goddamn pitiful.
Okay. They had Scott Thorazine, or whatever his name is, a quarterback there.
Scott Thorazine started, and then Jacoby Brissett came in by the third quarter.
Oh, that first guy's last name, by the way, sounds like a medication.
That's right. Yeah, Thorazine, right? Or
yeah.
He's an antidepressant.
Scott Tolzien.
Oh, so Jacoby Briskett's still playing then?
Yeah, he got traded to the Colts like a week ago.
What did I call him before? Jack-o'-lantern Biscuit or something like that? I don't remember, but I can't remember his name. But yeah, it was. I don't know how much you guys watched. I have NFL Sunday tickets, so I was able to bounce around a bit.
I watched the Sunday night game. That's I was watching either Game of Thrones or the Weather Channel for most of the day.
The quality of play was just terrible across. I mean, the Rams, of course, looked great because
there were a few teams that looked legitimately good, and then everything else kind of in the middle, and the bad teams looked really friggin' bad.
Yeah.
If I may offer a uninformed observation, seeing as I didn't see the game. But, Zach, I think even though it was against a depleted Colts team that didn't have their star quarterback, I would still feel good about this just because, one, a win's a win, and you never know when one win's going to make the difference. And two, like, if anything, think of it as a tune-up game in college football where it's like maybe this wasn't a true test of the team's talent, but it was, a game that mattered. It was a game that counted, and being against a weak opponent, if anything else, probably helped the offense kind of find a groove.
Well, not only that, but Andrew Luck's not going to stop them from scoring 47 points.
Yeah. Right, and it's not like it will. There were the two touchdowns and a safety that were caused by the defense. So you take those away, and it's 21 or whatever. Excuse me. Like if this was a 21-9 game, I feel good about it, but not as good as I do about complete domination like that. Like I said, they played as well as you could have wanted. The defense was the thing that was really, really encouraging, mostly because they did it without Aaron Donald being there, who's finally going to report this week and hopefully play next week against Washington. And then because the Colts weren't defensively, because they're not that great, it allowed Jared Goff to get time to actually run the offense, and it's not preseason. You're not running vanilla crap anymore. You're running like your actual system, and it looked like it worked. The wide receivers were energized. Goff looked protected and good.
Let's not leave out the most important factor too, is that idiot Jeff Fisher isn't running the show anymore.
Right. And Sean McVay's calling the plays as the head coach still, as he came over as an offensive coordinator from Washington, and the offense looked great.
Yeah,
the offense looked great, and the defense executed, and everything was good. Not a single complaint about that football game. Besides the attendance, and I thought opening day you'd have more people there, but if they can play like this, people are going to start showing up. I would not be surprised if next week there are more people in the Coliseums.
I also want to say in defense of the Rams is that the Coliseums are really goddamn big.
Yeah,
and so you can put 60,000 people in that stadium, and it can still look empty.
Well, it's still only just a little over half full at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the reported attendance was around 60,000.
Oh yeah, well that's not bad. It didn't look good on TV, but
right. And the both USC and UCLA had home games the day before. USC in the Coliseum.
Oh, I don't even want to talk about college football.
I know. We'll get there later, but
no, let's not.
In terms of people that want to watch football and paying their money, it was a busy football weekend in the city, especially in the same stadium back-to-back days. There's a lot of factors, and I know it sounds like I'm kind of like but they're legitimate reasons.
Yeah, no, I mean it's and like you said, they're going to be better, or they'll get better attendance next week because they've seen. I wouldn't blame anyone after the way that team played last year under Jeff Fisher. I wouldn't blame anyone for not wanting to go see it. They were boring. I mean, it's bad enough to be bad, but when you're just god awful watching paint dry boring on top of it, no one's going to want to sit through that. I don't blame them.
Right. And on top of that, the perception I've always had is that LA supports winners first and foremost. So, not to call it a bandwagon town or anything, but people will show up if you give them a reason to.
Right, and like we've said it 100 times before, it's not that we're fair weather or bandwagon. It's we have other things to do. If you're not good enough to warrant our support, then we have other things to do.
Were the Dodgers home this weekend too?
The Dodgers were home. Were they home? I don't know, but the Dodgers are on a hell of a losing streak right now too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I just want to give my Cleveland Indians a little bit of love here. A month ago, if you had said that they would have the best record in the American League and be only 5 games back of the Dodgers for the best record in all of baseball, I'd have told you were nuts. There's just no way I would have believed that. Not because I thought the Indians are bad, just because the Dodgers were this runaway freight train, and Houston was looking like the American League version of that, and now the Indians have reeled off. Well, it's going to be 19 in a row after tonight because they're winning 8-0 already against Detroit. So just wanted to throw that in. Go Tribe. They're looking really good, and I just hope they haven't peaked too soon here. But anyway,
to go from football to baseball and then baseball back to football, interesting little statistical note. So the Giants and Jets yesterday combined scored 15 points. The Yankees scored 16 runs.
Yeah.
In their Sunday game. So the Yankees outscored the 2 New York area football teams yesterday.
I did watch that Sunday night game, and good God, did it bring me joy to see Eli Manning and the Giants just lay a turd.
Yeah. Remember when you were so hyped about the Giants kind of run away with things, Greg?
Look, you are not going to get me to jump off anybody's bandwagon after 1 week.
That's what you're supposed to do as a responsible NFL fan.
No, right? I still stand by everything I said. Everything I standing by. Not one thing yesterday made me. Only thing I would say is that I think the Rams might be a little bit better than we thought they were going to be.
Yeah. And there's a few teams that I feel like that.
And I think Jacksonville too. But again, I'm not printing Super Bowl tickets. But if that Jacksonville defense can play like it did yesterday all season long, they're going to be a handful. Now that might only mean 6, 7, maybe 8 wins, but still, they're not going to be an easy out for anybody.
All I'm saying is that I picked the Rams to win the NFC West, and granted, that's faint praise because the division is probably hot garbage top to bottom. But regardless,
yeah, and God Almighty, I think it was the second or third play of the game yesterday. Nick Perry and my Green Bay Packers got through and just planted Russell Wilson. Oh, it was just a beautiful thing to see.
Oh
just
yeah,
stuck him right into the ground.
The Seahawks getting punked, that was nice to see. I like winning, but I really like beating those Seahawks for some reason. I don't know what it is about that, but man, I just don't like that team anymore. Used to think they were cool, and then that jackass quarterback of theirs came along, and now. But and my Cleveland Browns, I thought, played a very respectable game yesterday. They lost, but they only lost by 3, and they didn't look terrible. Not saying anything. I mean, I think they're going to be. Like I said in their preview, they are headed in the right direction. You can start to see some of the results of that now.
Well, and you look at the game, how it ended up. The Steelers were 9-point favorites, so just for them to cover the spread in any instance is probably good. But they lost by 3, and what happened on the Browns' first drive? A block punt. Right?
Yep.
Block punt for touchdown. You take that back, and
Browns win.
But obviously you don't. And special teams are a very important part of football, and it's all part of it. But when it's strictly the offenses versus the defenses, the Browns came out on top. And if they can play that way, if that's the way they're going to play in week 1, and they can figure themselves out and maybe improve as the season goes over it. But
yeah, I think I just, like I said, I don't think that I'm not kidding myself here, but I think that they're going to be a little bit better this year. We've reached the point now where you can say, okay, they're better than the Jets and they cover the spread. Those are big things with the Cleveland Browns these days. Small steps. Cover the spread, better than the Jets. Hey, you got to start somewhere.
The other thing I liked about the Browns is I love that new end zone for them. The Curse of Brown spot.
It's a great end zone, but it just clashes with their stupid uniforms so much.
I didn't even notice it. What does it look like? What is it?
It's a Curse of Brown script.
Okay.
A Cardinals-esque baseball script.
Okay. Oh, yeah, they've done that before.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it looked nice.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else? Well, let's start back on Thursday, too.
Speaking of a beautiful night of NFL football, God almighty, was that nice.
Opening night, Patriots get to do all their dumb Patriots stuff. They have Mark Wahlberg be the MC of this thing, forgetting that Mark Wahlberg left the Super Bowl early.
Yeah.
Because his kids were sick, but bullshit, Mark. The team was losing, and you wanted to go home. They put the 28-3 on all the scoreboards around the stadium during that presentation. They were up, what was it, when they were up 17-14 at half. They were up pretty decently until the Chiefs all of a sudden, they storm back, and in the fourth quarter, they take the lead by one single point, and all the Patriots fans start to go boo-boo face.
Oh, yeah.
A point. One single goddamn point. That's when all those screenshots were taken of, oh, man, we're losing. Jeez. Chiefs ran away with it in the fourth quarter with 21 points.
I'm going to tell you that the Browns fans did not look that sad after the drive. I'm not kidding you. They did not look that devastated after the team had just watched John Elway march 98 yards and lose the AFC Championship in overtime. What a pathetic bunch. You've got 5 Super Bowls in your pocket, and you're acting like that in week 1? Screw all of them. It was great, though. The Chiefs just kicked their asses. It was beautiful.
Yeah. That new running back for them, Kareem Hunt, was great.
Well, I tried. Nobody cares about my fantasy team, but I wanted to draft him so bad, but our friend Ghetto Farm Boy was drafted in front of me and grabbed him and took him right out of my pocket.
Yeah. Alex Smith looked great.
Yeah.
Alex Smith looked really good.
I've been an Alex Smith fan since he got screwed over, and I will say it, screwed over in San Francisco. So
now, but again, if these two teams meet in January, I don't expect this to look the same at all. And one of the reasons why too is the Chiefs did a great job of shutting down Gronkowski pretty well because of Eric Berry, who just, if anybody knows his story, coming back from cancer,
yeah,
and being able to play NFL football at an NFL level still. For him to tear his Achilles in the season opener like that is really that sucks. That sucks really bad.
Oh man, I didn't know. Okay, I didn't know that. I was really half paying attention.
Ruptured his Achilles.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks. Because he's just a feel good story. I mean, you just can't help but root for the guy,
Definitely. But all in all, hey, Chiefs look great and suck it, Patriots.
That's right. I'm going to go back to what I said too. I don't think the Patriots are going to be bad or anything, but everybody's like, oh, they're even better than last year. But Brady's 40 years old. I don't care who you are.
That defense looked bad. The defense looked particularly bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I just don't think, I think they're going to be very, very good, but they aren't the inevitable AFC champion that a lot of people think they are. I don't think. But it was, I thought the quality of play overall for the whole weekend was pretty bad for the most part.
It was down, yeah.
But, it was NFL week 1. And were you guys, okay, I want to do a thing I heard on the Dan Patrick Show today. We get to overreact to one thing. What would you pick? Like, you get to have one legitimate overreaction. What would it be?
Patriots going 0-16.
Well, not that much of an overreaction, but...
Legitimate overreaction.
Yeah, like where you say, like, this team, wow, they're better than we thought they were. They're not as good. Where you get to freak out and everybody did yesterday or today, I'm sure, about, I don't know.
Rams are a playoff team, for sure.
I'm going to say Seahawks are not a playoff team.
Yeah, there you go. Rams win the NFC West and the Seahawks miss the playoffs. How about that? There's your overreaction.
I don't know what I would pick. I think if I had to pick one, I'd probably be on board with the Jaguars more than I should be.
Yeah, I attribute to the Texans stupidly choosing to start Tom Savage.
What was that all about?
I don't know. They tried Tom Savage, and he looked awful, contributed directly to some of those Panthers or Jaguars touchdowns with the turnovers.
Yeah.
It was just bad. The Jaguars offense was fine. Blake Bortles 125 yards throwing. Okay. Leonard Fournette hit exactly 100 yards. Good for him. But that game was won by the Jags defense and the Texans' decision to start Tom Savage. I mean, Deshaun Watson comes in to start the second half. His first drive goes for a touchdown.
Right.
Now, that's all he did. But still, he came in and scored a touchdown on his opening drive. Who knows how that game is different if he's the starter and managing the ball better and giving the team more confidence throughout the entirety of the game. But it's 19-0 at halftime. What do you want?
So why were the Texans so dead set on doing the start with one quarterback and then we'll change it up later in the season plan?
They want the rookie to sit and learn for a bit, but that's it's just an old way of thinking now. With the way that we've seen these college quarterbacks and how they're taught and how they come into the league and succeed, these rookie QBs, especially somebody that's a national champion quarterback like Deshaun Watson was, in the way he did it in college too, he's very much ready to play in the NFL right now. You don't have to sit him.
I just don't know.
There and they want to be fine.
I don't know how you can look at that team and say Tom Savage is a better option for us than Deshaun Watson. I just don't see it. If you had a quarterback, I'd even go as far as I don't know, give me a middle-of-the-road quarterback that you'd say, okay, maybe we'll let Watson sit behind him, but Tom freaking Savage? Come on. Yeah. Bill O'Brien must be from the Jeff Fisher School of Quarterbacking or something. I don't understand it because I was listening to NFL radio while I was out for a little bit yesterday, and the guys on Sirius XM were going, what is he seeing that we're not? What's he waiting for? What's the point in keeping Savage in? I mean, they were like, it's clear this guy's not getting it done. What are they waiting for? And then finally, I guess at halftime, they pulled the trigger. But, geez,
yeah.
But, yeah, I'm with you, Zach. I think that in this day and age, we've just seen too many rookie quarterbacks come along. And, again, you're probably not going to go to the Super Bowl with a rookie quarterback. But, Dak Prescott last year, guys like that just
Jameis Winston did pretty well.
Winston, yeah, they just come in, they play,
Marcus
and
Mariota,
Carson Wentz. I mean, it's just you're not gaining anything by having Tom Savage be your starter. You're not going to beat a good football team with him.
Even in the situation of say the Rams last year, Jared Goff has turned out to be okay, and maybe he's going to get better. Hopefully, Sunday was an indication of what he can really do.
Yeah, he looked good yesterday.
But when you start last season, it's really, you're going to start Chase Keenum? You're going to start Case Keenum instead of Jared Goff, this guy that you put all this, draft picks and stuff into? You want to see what the guy's worth because first-round picks are worth a hell of a lot, especially if you traded up for him or if you draft the wrong quarterback and you sit on him and then you don't find out until, say, 2 years that he's bad, then you've wasted 2 or 3 years as a franchise.
And 2 or 3
because
good
we've seen how important these quarterbacks are.
Yeah,
right.
It's just. Well, that was frustrating as hell for me last year, and I'm not even a Rams fan, to watch Jeff Fisher with that inept offense with Case Keenum running it, and he just absolutely refused to put Goff in the game. And you're thinking, okay,
well, didn't the Texans trade up to get Watson too?
Yeah, they did.
I believe. Yeah. So it's not as much as say the Rams did, but you still traded up. You gave up assets to get this guy. Mm-hmm. Why are you not starting him right away? Well, even if it's an even quarterback competition, I'd rather go with the future now than hope that Tom Savage is good enough. I don't know.
If Tom Savage were
one game, and maybe the Texans will, win 6 in a row with Watson at QB next week. But
if Tom Savage was a good quarterback, he would be a good quarterback. That's the point. He's been around long enough that if he were the guy, he'd be the guy. Kind of like that dude for the Bears, Mike Glennon. If Mike Glennon were that good, he'd be that good.
Yeah, he didn't look great.
He wasn't bad, though, was he? I don't know.
Bad. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't, inspiring.
Well, I don't think anybody other than the Rams and maybe the Jaguars played. Well, of course, you got the Detroit Lions, who always come back in the fourth quarter. But really, I don't think anybody played anything too inspiring. But it was just, I don't know. What a weekend.
That Lions game was interesting only because, for teams that, again, chose the wrong quarterback, Carson Palmer is done.
No, he's toast.
Like, maybe you can say, oh, it's just one game. He'll bounce back. He's done. Those interceptions he threw were just terrible. Just no zip on that thing at all. He's, like you said, he's toast. He's fried. He's done.
Back to the Bears, though, for a moment. I'm going to read off Mike Glennon's stat line from that Week 1 game. 26 for 40, 213 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 picks, QB rating of 32.3.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's $15 million for 32.3.
Not only that, but 213 yards on 40 attempts. That's a lot of 3-yard screen passes, man. and that's something I look at and I think Mitch Trubisky could do this. That's how I always gauge it. Can the guy that's on the bench do exactly what your guy's doing right now? Your future quarterback. Like
using the stats from that game in particular isn't something that I want to advocate to anybody, because the leading rusher in that game was Chicago's Tarek Cohen. Never heard of him. 5 carries for 66 yards.
Yeah, he's 12 yards a carry.
The leading receiver was Austin Hooper for the Falcons. He had 2 receptions, 128 yards on 2 receptions.
Yeah,
one of those I saw, which was like an 88-yard touchdown pass, because the Bears forgot to cover the tight end. Like it was man-to-man on one side, man-to-man on the other side, and a safety in the back. And the safety went directly to Julio Jones' side, and the Hooper just ran up the middle and was like, there's nobody around me. I guess I'll turn around. I'll catch it. I'll run. Oh, the safety finally caught me. I'm going to stiff arm him and run the extra 60 yards to the end zone.
The Hooper. I think it's got to be his nickname now, right? The Hooper?
That was another prime example of a not very good football played game on Sunday.
Right.
By the way, Zach, you might not have heard of Tarek Cohen. Neither has ESPN, because they have no photo for his stat.
Oh, very good. That's always, yeah. That he doesn't.
Oh, speaking of that, I want to go back.
Carolina A&T. That's why we don't know him.
You guys beat the Rams beat those poor bastard Colts so bad yesterday that the coach didn't even remember who he was playing.
Right. We forgot to bring up that.
Chuck Pagano kept referring to them as the 49ers. Like, damn, that's an ass kicking, man.
Yeah. We got our asses kicked. Credit to the 49ers. Chuck? You all right there, buddy? Yeah, the hot seat probably getting to him a little bit in Week 1 already.
Well,
other hilarious things from the day. The Jets, bad. But did you see them? They got an interception, and it was going to be a clear pick 6, and then the guy's running. One of the Bills shoves a Jet 5 yards. It hits the running Jet in the back. He just threw a guy 5 yards.
The Jets will be this bad.
So he kind of bowled him then, basically, threw the other guy at him and knocked him down.
By the way,
pretty solid.
If you thought Mike Glennon had a bad QB rating, Josh McCown.
Oh, here we go.
26 for 39.
Yeah.
187 yards.
Ooh.
0 TDs, 2 picks.
Yes.
29.4.
Getting the job done. Doing what needs to be done there.
Could you imagine?
Average pass length was 4.8 yards.
Could you imagine being a Jets fan? I just gotta. I mean, I guess.
Browns fan, you know exactly.
Yeah, but I've got my Packers though. So that's the thing. The Packers are my. I own the Packers. They're my. Everything's fine as long as I have them. The rest, it doesn't matter. Okay, I'm a Leafs fan. I know exactly how Jets fans feel right now. It's just season seems like this gaping maw of nothingness, and it just needs to end.
Other things going right for the Bills. They're 1-0. They're first place in the division because everybody else lost, including the Patriots. But the other things going so well. At least 2 documented blowjobs given at the Buffalo Bills Stadium on Sunday.
Wow, that place is just a sex club type atmosphere, isn't it?
Yeah, on social media there was a story of a blowjob given in the parking lot, and then photo evidence of a woman on her knees in the women's bathroom with a man. You see the man's feet, you see the woman's knees. And you're just like, oh, I know what's going on.
Dildos flying on the field left and right. That's what losing 4 straight Super Bowls will do to a fan base. Let me tell you.
Nothing gets people hot and heavy like Buffalo Bills football.
Right.
Another game we haven't talked about, but one that I'm surprised you didn't grab onto for your overreactions, Greg. You've been proven right, at least through week 1. The Ravens are very good and the Bengals are very bad.
Well, yeah. I think I can't overreact to the Ravens because they played exactly like I thought they would. Andy Dalton had a pretty rough afternoon.
When we're talking about quarterbacks that have impressive stat lines.
Oh,
Andy Dalton, 16 of 31, 170, 4 INTs in a shutout loss at home.
Yeah.
QB rating of 0.7.
Hey, it could have been worse.
I think
technically, yes.
I think just running a single play and getting sacked gets you I think that gets you at least a 1.
I think if he had just walked out of the field or just taken the snap and fallen down, he would have gotten a higher rating than that, right?
Probably.
But every article I've read about that game, the same question: what does this mean, Marvin Lewis? How long does he keep his job?
Probably not. He's probably going to finish the season as a coach, and then he'll be the coach next season, probably because Mike Brown forgot to fire him.
No, watch what happens. Andy Dalton will get injured this week or something.
Yeah, and
then it'll be like, oh, my quarterback was injured. You can't fire me. I didn't have all my tools.
Uh-huh.
You're right.
And by injured, Marvin Lewis just took a sledgehammer to his knee one day after practice.
Who's their backup? A.J. McCarron, right? The Alabama dude?
What it used to be. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he still is. But, I'm not going to overreact to that because I think we all predicted that the Bengals weren't going to be very good. I was higher on the Ravens than you guys are.
I knew the Bengals were going to be
I thought the Bengals were middling.
Yeah, I thought they'd just be mediocre.
They may still be. I think they're going to be 5-6 wins, but they might still be. We don't know yet. It's just one game, but boy, they did not look good yesterday.
I liked what I saw out of the Raiders on Sunday.
Yeah,
the Titans played well too, but the Raiders just looked better. And I don't think last year was a fluke at all. I think this team is going to be very good still. I know some people were down on them and saying that they're going to lose the division. It's going to be the Chargers, and I'm like, no, I
wouldn't go that far.
The Chargers have the power of Costa Mesa behind them.
That's right. Sure. My Costa Mesa Chargers, baby.
hard to deny the power of Costa Mesa. I'm going
to go back. My overreaction is going to be the Chiefs. I think that the Chiefs, if they play like that, they're going to be tough to beat.
Yeah. See, I can't back the Chiefs because I know sooner or later Andy Reid will forget to call a timeout or something and they'll lose a stupid game they have to win for stupid reasons.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Eagles Redskins. That was a pretty good game actually, very competitive.
I wish I hadn't
me.
No, I'm going to overreact. This is actually my actual overreaction. Okay, when the Eagles won that game, I thought I shouldn't have backed off these guys. So that's my legitimate overreaction.
Okay, I'm not gonna read Carson Wentz's full stat line, but I will say his QB rating was only 47.7.
Well, that's better than 0.7.
I'm not gonna buy too much into that. I think the Eagles played well, but the Redskins failed when it counted. Like, Kirk Cousins threw an interception at the goal line, which negated, a touchdown that they could have had. And then in the final, there's like a minute 20 left, and it was a one-score game, and he got sacked, fumbled the ball, and the Eagles ran it in for a touchdown. So if Kirk Cousins is a little bit more careful and, just managing the game like he should and earning his franchise tag money, then Washington should have won that game.
Just looking at this game stat-wise, again, Carson Wentz's numbers are, okay, but they're not mind-blowing. And another thing about Mr. Wentz, he was actually the Eagles' second leading rusher.
Wow.
Yeah.
He got 6 yards on the ground, and
LeGarrette Blount carried the ball 14 times for 46 yards.
Ooh. Yeah. Well, he was just tearing it up, wasn't he?
Another story of if the Patriots let them go, don't sign them.
Yeah.
They're done.
This is why that we all know that Jimmy Garoppolo is the next Joe Montana, or I guess Tom Brady in this case, because Belichick won't let him go.
Belichick's holding on to him for dear life.
Yeah, I mean, if the Patriots cut a guy, don't bother. That's it. He's done. But with the Eagles, I like I said, that was my legitimate overreaction. The rest of them, I was like, it's just week one. But the Eagles, I thought, I shouldn't have backed off these guys like I did on the preview, where I said, you know what, I'm taking it back. I'm probably wrong about that, but that was my legitimate overreaction on Overreaction Monday, was thinking that the Eagles are better than they probably are.
Yeah, I think everything else is pretty much covered. Packers winning, we talked about. That's nice. Panthers should beat the Niners. The Niners should be bad. And I thought the Cowboys look pretty good. And I think the only interesting thing with the Cowboys to even talk about is the Ezekiel Elliott saga continues.
Right.
Because, we had the suspension for 6 games. Then he got some sort of legal thing was put in place where he was going to be able to play week 1, but his suspension was then going to kick in week 2 because they were still disputing about it. Then he won the injunction, meaning that the suspension is wiped off the board for now, and it won't be.
It's turning into a Tom Brady thing all over again. It's going to be all these appeals and injunctions
the way that it's just the way that it looks. Like, the NFL just looks super sketchy here.
Well, it really looks like they're trying to throw him under the bus. And
yes.
Who's to say, if the thing that's just so strange is, sure, there's some circumstantial evidence that they could say is this, but what it seems like the NFL is doing with trying so hard to put the 6 games on him, despite him never actually being charged with anything, is basically the NFL trying to prove that we have a better legal system than the actual United States legal system.
Well, if they don't follow through on this and keep the suspension and all that, there's only 2 options they had here: either to say, okay, we were wrong, which they're not going to do, or they do this.
I mean, as far as I can tell, he hasn't been charged.
No.
The state prosecutors have opted not to pursue the case.
Right.
And the NFL didn't even let the person investigating the situation come to the meeting to offer a recommendation for disciplinary action. So it just looks sketchy as fuck.
Yeah, it does.
They're I'm not one to go out there and try to defend somebody that might be accused of domestic abuse, or necessarily even to defend a Cowboy or Ezekiel Elliott for that matter. Just all the optics of this is the NFL trying to railroad this guy.
It really does look that way. I'm not saying that he's innocent either, or that nothing happened, but this looks an awful lot like a league, and Roger Goodell in particular just doesn't want to say, hey, we might have overreacted here and we were wrong.
And the NFL is so goddamn stupid. It's like Ray Rice is caught on tape punching his girlfriend. Mm-hmm. It's like, slap on the wrist. And then that blows up into a huge media disaster for him. And so how do they overcompensate a guy who the police aren't even charging with a crime? Mm-hmm. It's like, God damn it, Roger. Just
don't forget the Josh Brown incident with the Giants. He got one game.
Yeah.
Is he actually charged?
That's the thing. It's just with the NFL, that league doesn't seem to know how to be measured in their response. They are it's one way or the other. And this is a case where I agree. I think they are not going to let Ezekiel Elliott off the hook.
Just do just do a reasonable, measured response to this sort of thing. And just calm down and wait for the police to do their thing and look at the evidence. Just stop doing what you've been doing, because nobody likes you for it.
Well,
yeah.
I agree.
Like here to get the full information. So the Josh Brown incident with the Giants, the NFL got documents from the county sheriff office where he was where he was charged, and in the charges, in the documents were about the charges, he admitted to verbally and physically abusing his wife. He admitted it. He said he did it. He didn't get a conviction or anything, but he admitted to doing it. Then you have Ezekiel Elliott, who has denied it at every single turn, and he gets 6 games.
Well,
Josh Brown got 1. What's the difference? Like, what makes it so much worse what Ezekiel Elliott's done to what Josh Brown did, or allegedly done with Ezekiel Elliott? This is a league that doesn't make sense.
Well, I don't know.
It's trying to make itself look that much better than it is, and it just.
Well, yeah, but in a lot of cases, and this one in particular, when they pull stunts like this, they just look bullheaded and arrogant and stupid. Mm-hmm. They don't want due process. That doesn't mean anything to them, and it's just. And you're right. They're not going to back off of this because now that means that they screwed it up in the first place, and we can't admit that. I mean, Jesus, what was it, 2 years ago when it looked like the whole sky was falling down around them? And Roger Goodell was basically standing out on the balcony fiddling while Rome burned. It was just like, I'm not going to acknowledge any of this and blah, blah, blah. It's just it's just a stupid league. I don't know why we waste our time with it.
And with the Josh Brown thing, just over the weekend, September 8th, he's a free agent. He's not signed with anybody. The league suspended Brown an additional 6 games while it continued conducting a previous investigation. So the NFL could just divvy out its punishment or divvy out its own justice whenever and however it feels.
Yeah.
And, they are a private organization. They can technically do whatever the hell they want, I guess. But if Josh Brown, fine, do it. He deserves it, I guess. If a guy hasn't even been charged or has been cleared of those charges, what are you doing?
Well,
what are you doing?
That's their thing, though. They want to make it look like, okay, yes, technically by the letter of the law, he's innocent, blah, 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 but we know something happened, so we're going to suspend him. Well, and a lot of times...
better than the people involved.
Pardon me?
How do they know better than the people actually involved?
Well, that's the thing. But there are times where you go, okay, yeah, that's a good thing. Like sometimes a guy, like what was the guy from the Cowboys that was like shown on the bed or the couch with all the rifles and shit? I can't remember his name now.
Right,
but
he came over from the
Panthers. The Bears, wasn't it? I can't remember, but anyway, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, there's that guy. That's Tank Johnson.
Tank Johnson, right? Exactly.
Right. I was thinking about the guy who came over from the Panthers to the Cowboys, who had domestic abuse.
Oh yeah. The one from last year, yeah.
I can't even see. Here's the other problem that the NFL has right now. We can't even keep their legal troubles straight anymore.
Well, that's been a problem for years. But it's just it's just the NFL. It's typical. It's just another day in the disciplinary offices of the NFL. Yeah. Simple as that. And speaking of, I don't know if you guys are watching, but Minnesota is beating up on the Saints pretty good right now.
Saints suck.
Yeah, they're going to be bad. I think I said in the preview, they're a cautionary tale for teams like the Packers and the Colts. You don't want to rely too heavily on your quarterback because this is what happens to you.
Yeah, the bit I've seen, they haven't looked too good tonight, but they're on the 8-yard line now.
Yeah, that
Adrian Peterson trying to score in his debut or his return to Minnesota.
Oh, is he back with the Vikings? I didn't know that.
He's with the Saints.
Oh, he's with the Saints?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's right. I said last week it was a bad signing. Just like I said Marshawn Lynch was a bad signing. He goes out and gets 76 yards yesterday and looks pretty damn good.
Yeah, you just carry the ball.
Yeah. Well, I'm watching it on my iPad, so they're probably still just past the opening kickoff where I'm at here.
But this is, I don't know. Minnesota hasn't showed me anything that is too out of this world so far in this game. So I'll check in with the Vikings next week, see if they can do anything better.
Well, there's Adrian Peterson, got a couple yards. Yeah, it's just the first week. We don't know anything yet. We know that half the teams are 1-0 and the other half are going to be 0-1. That's about all you can really say. And that the Rams are the potential Super Bowl champions.
There are some things to take out of week one where you have a team like the Rams and you say, okay, they were so bad last year. It's nice to see that there's something. I don't expect this every week. I don't expect them to all of a sudden win 10 games.
No, but they had life yesterday. They were
right.
They had life. That's the only way I can put it. Enthusiasm, I guess, is the word I'm looking for.
If they could even be half of what they were yesterday, then I will be happy on this season because that's a huge improvement. And it's a big step forward.
Yeah, you're right. There's certain things you can take away. Like the teams that are bad, they didn't disappoint yesterday. Teams like the Colts, we thought were going to be bad, and they're going to be bad.
The Colts were going to be bad, but that without Andrew Luck, they're going to be much worse.
Right.
He's out again this week, by the way. He's not going to play.
With no timetable to return.
Right.
Well, and I hate to keep beating a dead horse with this, but again, you're going to tell me that Scott Thorazine is better than Colin Kaepernick? I'm just saying. Or what's his name, Tom Savage? I mean, if you're going to go with the veteran quarterback, at least get a guy that's halfway decent. I don't understand. I mean, I do understand. I know exactly why Kaepernick doesn't have a job, but it's just getting tougher and tougher to justify the reasoning with these teams because Scott Thorazine is. I think Colin Kaepernick will be a much better option for the Colts. At least he can run around behind that horrible offensive line.
Hey, the 49ers, they may have only scored 3 points, but Brian Hoyer was 24 of 35 for 193 yards.
That's what I'm saying. 24 completions and he gets 190 some yards. Come on.
And an interception.
Yeah.
So don't shortchange, Ohio's own Brian Hoyer.
The immortal Brian Hoyer.
Right. Best quarterback in new Cleveland Browns history.
Actually, speaking of that, the one last cool stat that I have from the weekend was the fact that with Ben Roethlisberger's win in Cleveland yesterday, he officially has more wins in Cleveland than any Browns quarterback in Cleveland in New Cleveland Browns history.
More than Tim Couch?
Since the Browns returned in '99, Ben Roethlisberger has the most wins in Cleveland Stadium out of any quarterback in the league. Oh, come on, Greg.
Do we have to talk about college football this week? Can we just skip it?
No, college football is the best football. We've talked about this.
Yeah, most of the time.
It's fun. It's really good.
Oh, yeah. That was a blast Saturday night. Boy, I had a good old time.
Trust me, all three of us had great times Saturday night. All three of our favorite teams did so well. Oh, wait, that was week one. Okay, so college football this weekend. Interesting. Some interesting score lines all around.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go through some of this real quick. Friday, Oklahoma State won big. They're scoring a lot of points. They'll be in the top 10, or I think they are in the top 10 this week.
I tell you, I said it in the preview. I like these guys a lot. I think they're a playoff team this year.
Okie State's number 9 this week.
They should be higher than that.
Number 1 is the Alabama Crimson Tide still. They won 41-10 over Fresno State. Good job, Bulldogs. Here's your paycheck.
Yeah.
Then the new number 2 team in the country.
God.
Beat the old number 2 team in the country.
Oh.
I was really looking forward to this game because, based on how the game went last year, the Ohio State-Oklahoma game looked like it was going to be another fun romp of the Big 12 being put on a big stage and getting blown up.
Mm-hmm.
But it was defensive struggle through the first half, 3-3 at halftime.
Yeah.
And then in the second half, I didn't get to see the first half, but I watched a lot of the second half. And to me, it just seemed that Oklahoma was beating up Ohio State. They ran the ball effectively. They were beating them on the lines,
yep.
I thought. And Oklahoma just ended up pulling away 31-16. JT Barrett looked pretty bad in the second half, I thought.
It was never as close as that score.
Right. Oklahoma was clearly the better team on that field on Saturday night. And I didn't expect that at all.
What did you say, Greg? They don't know how to play defense in the Big 12?
Right. That's what we all said.
Yeah.
But that thing, if Oklahoma could play the way it did on Saturday night, especially on the lines and defensively, that is the team that's going to win the Big 12. That is the team that's going to make the play. It could be dangerous.
You're assuming that that's based on the idea that Ohio State's good, and I gotta say, I really think we all missed the boat with this Bucket team because let's be honest about it. I mean, yeah, they beat Indiana 49-21 or whatever it was, but they didn't look good doing it. And Indiana played them tough the first half of that game, and then it just became a matter of who has more depth, and that's where Ohio State took over. But this team has not looked good, really. Even the Michigan game last year was a game they probably should have lost. And then they got blown out in the playoff. They haven't looked good in a while. And I'm not so sure that, I'm not taking anything away from Oklahoma. And you know what, Baker Mayfield, the day will come and we will get you back for playing that fucking flag on our O. somewhere down the line. But
I thought that was pretty funny.
It really was, actually. I don't blame him. I mean, after what happened last year, but still, I don't think Ohio State's that good. I think they're way overrated, and I'm not taking a thing away from Oklahoma, but I'm not ready to buy into the Sooners yet based on this game. Now, if they can go out and do it again to somebody, then okay, but right now, no. I still think they're what we think they are.
Well, I like them a lot. You're not going to see too much from Oklahoma soon. They're at Baylor, or they get Tulane, who's not of any caliber, Baylor, who's lost to two pretty bad teams, Iowa State, Texas. They don't have a hard game until October 21st, 5 weeks from now, where they go to Kansas State, who's ranked 18th in the country right now. That'll be where you really get to test. You know, they have Texas the week before that, and that's always a weird game, but Texas is bad. And one of the funniest things I saw over the weekend too is how Fox is hyping up this Texas USC game this upcoming week. And that's just not going to be like, it's fun for like outside reasons and the Rose Bowl from 2006 and all that. But that game is going to be garbage, and it's kind of silly that they're hyping it up like that.
Well, they got to do what they got to do. You got to get people to watch.
But yeah, Oklahoma's going to be where it's at in the rankings for a good chunk of weeks for now. So enjoy those Sooners being at number 2 for a while, because that's where they're going to be. I was impressed by them. I really was.
Oh yeah, it was a damn impressive. I mean, I don't care. Even if Ohio State's not that good, even if they're not as good as we think, they're still coming into Columbus and beating them like that. It's still an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Even if they aren't the number 2 team in the country. I don't think, and I'm not saying they're like not a top 25 team. And maybe it was just a bad game. I don't know, but I was reading a couple articles about it, and it was on ESPN. They brought up some good points. JT Barrett, if you go back and look at his record, he's good against bad teams, but when he has to play a good team, he's not so hot. And, you know, Urban Meyer's already addressing it. He's our quarterback, blah, blah, blah. But to me, that's like the old vote of confidence you get when you're a coach or a manager in baseball. Well, I'm giving him a vote of confidence, and the next Monday he's fired, you know? But Oklahoma, yeah, they were damned impressive. I mean, they beat Ohio State in every aspect of that game, and there's no two ways about it. And good for them, I guess. Yeah, no, again, very impressed with Oklahoma. You know, we've always talked a lot of crap about Oklahoma, but that was a win that made me feel a little bit more legit about them. We'll see where they are come the end of the season. I'm still not completely sold on them, but that went a long way towards selling me on them. I'll put it that way. So Greg's team lost. The number 3 team in the country is still the Clemson Tigers after they pulled out a 14-6 win over the Auburn Tigers, Mike's football team in the college ranks. That was not a fun football game to watch. We talked about the subpar quality of play on Sunday in the NFL. That game would have been lost among that too. That was a hard game to watch. Just two teams that weren't very good on offense. Defenses were fine, but Clemson did what it needed to do to pull out a win, I guess. Yeah, but do you see them as the number 3 team in the country right now? I don't. No, they're completely up there. The fact that they got a first place vote in the AP, they're number 2 in the coaches poll with 2 first place votes. I'm sorry, I'm not buying it. You think that Clemson team could beat Alabama? Good joke. By the way, Alabama 58 first place votes, Oklahoma 2, Clemson 1. Yeah, I don't know. I thought this game was going to go a long way for Clemson to prove to, at least to me, that they were deserving of that high ranking, that this was a team that was a high caliber team again, despite the talent it lost. But they may have won, but it didn't do any more to prove what they are to me. Those votes from the Clemson shoppers say they're the best team in the country. All right, so the Clemson Digest, yes. I don't know, man. Hey, you know what? Pittsburgh Penn State really looked good. It was a good looking game. No, that was a good game. The only thing that I wanted to talk about that game, did you hear about their head coach Franklin, his quote after the game? No. Now, there's 2 ways to take this, and I think people are taking it not how he meant it, but the way he said it was great. Last year when Pittsburgh beat us, it was like the Super Bowl to them. Us beating them is like any other. It's like beating Akron. Ooh. And so when you think that, it's like, oh, he's throwing shade. But what he probably really meant is they just see this win as another week and another game, and they take every week one day at a time and all the sort of cliche nonsense. But
People are taking the quote and running with it, like, oh, he doesn't think a whole lot of Pittsburgh and thinks Pittsburgh makes more of the rivalry, and it's not a rivalry. Oh my gosh!
I think he's right in either case, really. I mean, let's be honest about it. Penn State beating Pittsburgh is, to them, probably not that big a deal. And Pittsburgh beating Penn State, on the other hand, is a huge deal because Pittsburgh is just not as good as Penn State. They're not as prominent, and I'm fine with it either way. Whatever, however he meant it, I don't have a problem with it. He's right.
Yeah. The other team I was impressed with on Saturday, who's now the number 4 team in the country, the USC Trojans. You know, they had a middling opening week against Western Michigan. Not as impressive as they probably should have been. There were some questions about the line and the physicality of that team. They played a Stanford team that's known for being tough, known for being physical, and they kicked the crap out of them, really. 42-24. They beat Stanford in the Coliseum. Sam Darnold looked amazing. 316, 4 TDs. He looked on point. He had these 2 throws right at the end of the first half that were just glorious to look at. And that was a huge game for SC. To prove to people, because they had fallen down a couple spots to 6. Now they're back up to 4. And I think that's where that team should be. They're just as good as anybody else, in that top 4, except for, Alabama, of course. But they're one of the top teams in the country, and they proved it.
And friend of the show, Atomic Adam, was at that game with his son. Just want to throw that in. Yeah, give him a little shout out there.
Yeah.
Showed some pictures from the Coliseum at the game. Cool.
Yeah. My girlfriend's dad is an SC alum, and she's a huge SC Trojans fan, and all she could do on Saturday was rave to me about this is what it felt like in the old days, the Leinart Bush days. She says that watching this team reminds her of that group and the feeling that she had watching that group. So we'll see if that can pan out over the course of the season, but USC does look pretty fun right now.
How cool is it that he's got a girlfriend that's talking about stuff like this, Mike? Right?
Hang on to her for dear life.
I'd marry that girl, man.
Yeah.
I mean, she's not just going, oh, it's fun. USC is fun. She's like, this is what it was like in the old days with Matt Leinart and Reggie Bush. I mean, like, okay, yeah, I'm never getting rid of you.
She loves her Trojans. She loves Trojans.
Apparently.
Pretty great. But yeah, Darnold and Ronald Johnson, the running back, they all look great. I can't wait to see more from that USC team. They're going to be fun to watch this year. Let's see, what else is going on here?
Ronald and Darnold, I like it.
Washington beat the crap out of Montana. Good for them, I guess.
I like this Husky team too. I like everybody. I'm just spreading the love to everybody. I like everybody in college football except Michigan.
I was going to say, do you like the number 7 Michigan Wolverines?
I don't even know who they played, to be honest with you.
Cincinnati.
Yeah, big deal.
Yeah, not a big deal.
I don't know. I had to see them play. I haven't seen them play yet. Or no, did I watch their first game? What did they play in their first game?
Michigan, Florida.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Oh, and they beat them pretty good too, right?
Yep. Let's see. Now the late slate of games, there was really only a couple of games that I want to talk about overall. And the late afternoon, for me, I guess the evening on the East Coast, you had Oklahoma, Ohio State, Auburn, Clemson, USC, Stanford, and Georgia, Notre Dame all on at the same time, and they were all great games. This Georgia Notre Dame game was really fun. Georgia's first ever trip to South Bend, their first road game north of the Mason-Dixon line in over 50 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
But that makes sense. I guarantee you there was a lot of SEC teams that have it like that because they could play all these local schools down there, you know, and not have to really travel that much, and then they get the normal SEC schedule after that. But this was a very tight game. Notre Dame had its opportunities. Georgia kept trying to give this game to Notre Dame, and the Irish just wouldn't take it. They let their chances slip away at the end, and Georgia holds on for a 20-19 win in South Bend. A nice win for Georgia. I thought the defense looked good. The offense not great. And Notre Dame, with the loss, they fall out of the rankings as they should have.
This is just not. They're not what they used to be at by any definition. They're just not.
Brian Kelly's on the hot seat, right?
It has to be.
If Notre Dame does not do well this season, he's got to honor.
Is it fair to put him on the hot seat though? Because let's be honest about it, they haven't been Notre Dame Notre Dame capital N capital D in a very long time.
He took him to the national championship game in his second or third year.
Yeah, but
and how that go?
Right,
well, he played Alabama, but what did he do?
I also believe that if that team had put up that exact same performance and been anybody but Notre Dame, I don't know that they would have gone that far. They weren't that good. I mean, I don't remember we were doing the show back then. I remember talking about it on the boards that everybody thought Notre Dame was just going to get slaughtered by Alabama, and they did.
Well, okay. Here's what he's done the last few years. Last year he was 4-8, not a good season for the Irish, very bad.
Right.
2015 they were 10-2 the regular season, lost to Ohio State in the Fiesta Bowl. In 2014 they were 8-5, beat LSU in the Music City Bowl.
Okay, well.
2013 they were 8-4 and beat Rutgers in the Pinstripe Bowl. Good for them, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I mean, though. That's about the team they are now. They're going to have a year or two here and there where they're going to get maybe 9-10 wins, but they aren't the perennial national championship contenders anymore, and they haven't been for a long time.
In 2012 was when they went to the championship game. They were 12-0.
But I think that they're going to be they've dropped down a level in the hierarchy of college football. They're no longer at the elite level. And the sooner they get used to that idea, the safer Brian Kelly's job will be, and the more we can all move on to talk about teams that are actually important in the scheme of things.
Yeah, maybe.
That's what I think. I don't think that they're bad or anything, but they're not. You can't put them in the same category as the Alabamas and the Oklahomas or the Ohio States or even the Clemsons for that matter. They're just not there anymore.
Other things to take note of, Louisville in their game, they beat North Carolina 47-35. That's not the impressive part. Lamar Jackson, 393 yards throwing, 3 touchdowns, 132 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns, over 500 yards of offense and 6 touchdowns by their quarterback.
Yeah,
pretty damn good.
He's pretty good. Didn't he win the Heisman last year?
He did.
He might have a shot at being the first guy since Archie Griffin to do it twice. I will say this, though. North Carolina's uniforms were just fabulous in this game. Boy, they look good.
The Argyle stripes are perfect.
Yeah, they looked really good.
And I hope to hell that we never see their practice helmets in real life. You know what's on the practice helmets?
The footprint?
The Air Jordan logo.
Oh, no.
Like, because their uniforms are now Air Jordan logo uniforms. And the practice helmets have the action on the side where instead of saying UNC or just nothing, they put the Air Jordan logo on it.
Well, probably good money to be made off of that.
Yeah.
I don't know. In Louisville, they've got to do something. They've got to come up with a better uniform set than what they have. Too much going on there.
They like the Christmas ornament helmets.
Yeah, they really do, and it's not a great look. Anyway, go ahead.
Pac-12 After Dark is still very much a thing. The late game was Boise State, Washington State, winning a triple overtime, and Washington State wins that one. That was very fun for Wazoo. Good win for them.
Did you see Boise State's jersey stripes?
On what? On Boise?
Yeah.
Yeah, not great.
I don't know. They weren't horizontal. They were kind of diagonal. Which
they were slanted.
They were fucked up is what they were. Yeah, I watched a little bit of this, but I was just too despondent after the Buckeyes game to really care or pay any attention. I think I went and hate watched baseball. Like, fuck football. Where's a baseball game?
With Notre Dame's loss to Georgia, they are the only team to fall out of the rankings this week. And taking the new number 25 is the UCLA Bruins.
No!
Back up. Yeah, they're in the rankings. Josh Rosen had a great game in week 2 against Hawaii. No, I don't want to update Java. Get out of here. How much did Rosen throw for? 329 to 5 TDs against the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors.
When's Hawaii
undefeated?
When's Hawaii going to bring back the the actual rainbow uniforms? Come on, man.
I just like that they can get away with calling themselves the Rainbow Warriors again. For a while they couldn't. They just called themselves the Warriors.
Yeah, I didn't like that either. They used to be the Rainbows. There was no Warriors involved, and that was a fucking awesome identity. I don't know why they had to get all macho about shit. Oh, we can't be fuck you, whatever.
Yeah.
And see my attitude's taking a turn south here as we talk more college football.
Well, as I said, Greg's team lost, Mike's team lost. We forgot to mention because they aren't ranked, and after this they won't be all season. I can guarantee that. The Arizona State Sun Devils lost at home to the San Diego State Aztecs, 30-20, on the night they're supposed to be honoring Frank Kush, the recently departed Frank Kush, legendary coach for the Devils. They had the Sunburst logo on the field. They put the Sunburst logo on their helmets. They had the new Pat Tillman statue. It was all really cool. And then they lost at home to SDS fucking U. So SDSU wins the title of Party School of America for the year, and ASU will have to take it back at a later date.
So none of us had a particularly good weekend in college football, though my Toledo Rockets did win.
I thought it was a pretty entertaining college football weekend. To have those 4 games on in that late slot all at the same time, flipping between all 4 of them, they're all tight games. That's what college football is all about to me. Having all these options of great games to choose from, all ranked teams participating, just really fun. I don't know what's going on next week. I know we got USC Texas, which, again, like we said, Fox is making a big deal out of.
I'm going on the record right now. I like Louisville to beat Clemson this week.
I think I do, too.
Let's wrap it up. We'll come back next week for Overreaction Week 2 and take it from there. You know the routine. Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. Subscribe via iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, and the YouTubes. And find us on Facebook. Go Packers, go Browns, screw you Buckeyes, go Rockets.
Los Angeles Superchargers.
Ram it. Go Rams.